Welcome to episode 86 of A Message From. We're your hosts. I'm Edward.
I'm Alyson.
Today we're talking about the trip we just took together. I don't know if together is the right word, that I kind of like tagged along on.
Kind of together?
Yeah, it was like together, but it wasn't like originally planned together. But first, the message.
Hi, Mom and Dad. It's your daughter, Kathy. I miss you both. And I need you to tell the pod about how Alyson had a misconnection with the love of her life. Yeah. Okay, love you. Bye.
So Kathy accidentally put her finger over the microphone like halfway through the message. Could you pick up what she said?
No, I didn't hear any of it.
Damn. Okay, well, she said hello to both of us. And then she said, Ed, I need you to tell the story of how Alyson missed the misconnection of Alyson's love at the restaurant.
Stop.
So we are starting off hot.
You two planned this together.
She actually surprised me with that. I mean, we were alone. But we got to give some backstory. So Kathy was one of the people who was on the trip. But the trip was originally, as we do know on this podcast, was you were going to Paris / Central Eastern Europe with friend of the pod Alex and friend of the pod Kathy and friend of the pod Calvin. Lots of friends of the pod.
We have so many friends.
And I was able to tag along on the second Parisian leg of the trip.
So I came back and everyone was like, oh my gosh, how was your surprise? What a fun little surprise. And I'm like, what surprise? Like,
what surprise?
What surprise? Well, apparently, I don't know, like some rumor got started that like you coming to Paris was like surprised us all. And I'm like, how did this happen?
Wait, how?
I think because I posted like one
that?
picture of you, the picture of us in front of the bus at the Arc de Triomphe, and everyone was like, oh my gosh, a surprise visit. And I was like, I mean, no, not
at all. We were going to make it a surprise for Alex, but then in terms of planning it all, it was just like too much work.
It was a surprise to her for like 5 minutes, and then we were like, no, that's not going to work.
Yeah. But should we get into what Kathy wants us to discuss now, or would you rather wait?
Let's just get it over with.
It's Thursday night in Paris. It's your last night. Also my last night. It's
your last night.
It's our last night. And we are at dinner at some place called
Grupo Mimo.
Yes. I don't know the names of a single restaurant that we went to because I was just like truly tagging along. I'm trying to think. It was very yes man.
I'm trying to think if I remember them all, but anyway, that's not the point.
So it was Grupo Mimo? Okay. Grupo Mimo. We get there. We had to change the reservation because I was the surprise, right? And from the get-go, they're like, you can't. It was like one of those moments where two people were explaining things and neither of them were able to bridge the gap to make a connection that they were talking about two different things.
Yeah. So it's so funny because I don't know if like we tried to call and they didn't answer, they won't open or something. So like Alex sent an email and received the most French response. Like,
oh my God, right. This is the one with the email.
Yeah.
I remember this story now.
It was like, we can't accept reservations of 5. We can only do tables of 4 because of space. Like, we have limited seating space and it's just impossible.
I mean,
it's just
small.
not possible. It was this. Yeah. It was a standard French, like saying something's not possible without even trying.
Yeah, just straight up like it is not possible. Like, but written. So we get there and Alex is like, that's fine. I'll make a reservation for 3. I'll make a reservation for 2. Right. We get there and the guy's like, you cannot do that, but we made you a table anyway. Yeah. And it was like, a table for 4 and a table for 3, 2, but they're different sizes. So it was like adult table, kiddie table.
Yeah, it was hilarious. He was like, you can't do this. This doesn't work, but we'll make an exception for you.
I didn't do that though. She's like, I made a reservation for 3 and 2, but he's like, but you made a reservation for 5. You can only do 4. And she was like, but I made it for 3 and 2. And it was like that moment where it was just like, he was like, they both were like, okay, never mind.
Yeah.
Like, let's just sit down. And I was like, you can make a reservation for 3 and 2, but you made it for 5 total under your name. It can only be 4, you know, like that type of situation.
But
I think
even
was
still,
that's what I understood.
Yeah, but even that's how they interpreted it. But even still, I'm like, okay, if 2 of us are all the way in the back of the restaurant and 3 are all the way in the front, who cares?
Yeah.
It's 3 and 2 and it all fits. We still
I think that's
are
what
taking
Alex
up
thought was
2
going to happen.
tables.
Yeah. I think that's what Alex thought was going to happen. And they were like, same girl, we'll just smash them together, even though you're not supposed to do that. And it was like, we would have been fine being split, but I mean, it was totally fine that we had our adult and kiddie table.
They just wanted to like make a point. The table was already set and ready in the front of the restaurant, like in front of the windows for everyone to see us. Like,
everyone stared at the back of you and I's heads.
True. But as soon as we sat down, I'm like, every single person that works here is staring at us right now.
Oh, it was so awkward. It was so intense.
Every single one of them. Because this was a very small place. Like, from our seat in the front to the back of the restaurant, you can see everything. It's like a bedroom.
My flat is bigger than that restaurant. Like, that's how small this restaurant was. Like, my living room and kitchen combined, and this space is still bigger than the restaurant. Take out the 2 bedrooms. Take out the bathroom.
Yeah.
It was a small place, but you're right. So we sit down and it's like, I was like, well, this is going to be, they don't love us here. And that's when you said like everyone's staring. And I was like, oh, this is even worse.
Yeah.
This is
and then we get the
so much more worse.
And then we get the menus and I flip it open. The first page is like this big long story about like, thank you so much for visiting us. Like, we're a family here. Like, we're going to make you feel like our friends. And I was like, oh, they don't like us.
I don't know about that. It was an uphill battle. But let me tell you, the battle was won.
It was won pretty quickly.
And you know who the commander general of this battle was?
Me.
You.
Because I was like,
you.
One of the only ones speaking to them in French from the start.
Right. I mean, yeah, it was probably just the 2 of us. I mean, I think Alex probably spoke in French. I think Calvin spoke in French too.
Sometimes. Yeah.
But so to speed the story along a little bit, we order things, blah, 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 blah. It ends up being like, they're kind of like nice to us. You know, it's like kind of like, oh, like the ice is breaking, thick ice is breaking.
Fine.
And then it becomes like a stalemate battle between which language will be spoken at the tables.
Yes.
Between the waiters and the eaters, us. And you dead ass only would speak in French. I mean, I think I only spoke in French too, but I wasn't really speaking that much in general. Like, you were actually like conversing with these people more than I was.
Especially because I was
you were like,
on the,
I'm speaking in French.
Yeah, and I was on the end too. So like, anytime we needed something, you know, I was right there.
Exactly. Yeah, you were the go-to. Because you were also facing them directly. You were facing the whole restaurant, where Kathy was also facing towards the window. Yeah,
because somehow I ended up alone at the kiddie table. Everyone's off at the other table.
Kathy
and I'm just
turned to eat at the adult. And this other waiter, there's like 2 that are sort of attending us.
Yeah.
He's not the maitre d'. He's just like a waiter. And he's like tall, dark hair, looks like he plays basketball, like vibe. And he's like speaking the world's worst English I've ever heard.
He tried, but he was so bad at it.
Who speak better than him.
He was bad.
And he just wouldn't give it up. So it was basically this going on for like the whole night. We end up like eating. It's like totally fine. The vibe is like calentito. It's nice and warm. And then we eat, and you have what you described as
the best pizza ever. It was so good. The best pizza in my life.
I've ever eaten in my entire life.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we then...
Which everyone at the table knew that was high praise.
Yeah.
Because we know you.
It was very high
You're
praise.
very particular.
I wasn't expecting that when we went in there, because we went to this place simply because they make the pasta in the giant cheese wheel.
Right, which only one person got.
Only one person got. I thought they would have more options for which type of pasta you can get in the cheese wheel, but I guess that makes sense. Like, you don't want to cross-contaminate. Yeah. So...
Exactly. You'd have to have like 4 different Parmesan.
Like 5,000 euro cheese wheels. Those things are not cheap.
No. And it was funny because usually when you see them in the like, you know, viral videos, they're like quite large. These it was quite small.
Quite small, but now that I know like the size of the restaurant, where would they store a giant one?
Oh, yeah. Who knows? But we have a pizza. It was like honey, feta, pine nuts. What was the nut?
I think it was
Basil?
hazelnut.
Hazelnut.
And there was basil. Oh,
yes. And we shared pasta, which was like pistachio,
it was
burrata.
a pistachio, burrata. Yeah, something like that. Maybe
Some
ricotta.
situation.
I don't know.
Maybe it was quite divine, right? You and I shared. So we're eating, and you're like, I'm gonna tell this waiter that this is the best pizza I've ever had in my life. You do, and it's like, wow, high praise. And that's, I think, when sparks truly started to fly between the two of you. I think that's what sealed the deal. And then from there on out, it was like Alyson and this man just chatting, and everyone else in this restaurant, including the 4 other people at the table, just, we did not exist.
Being so awkward though.
It was like a spotlight.
You were all being so awkward. You were making it awkward. It could have been just like a normal conversation if all of you weren't like cracking up every time you walked over. You were literally dying.
Well, we started. I think it only got. I started, I think, to die. If I'm remembering correctly, because there was a point where you two had like some sort of a conversation. I have no idea what the words spoken between the two of you were.
I don't even remember either.
I don't think because it was probably insignificant as hell. It was probably just like,
can I get the check?
Do you need water? Or can we get the check? Like, it was nothing like, there was no real connection happening. But it was like, I don't know how to describe this on a podcast audio wise. You guys were like inches away from each other's face.
It was so close.
And like
why
it was almost like
so
whispering.
Close? He was.
I know, but it was also like you also leaned in a bit. I think because like naturally when someone gets that close, you kind of like sort of lean in to be like, oh, what are they going to say? And it was just like, I remember at that point just being like very wide-eyed, like, oh my God, that's so intense.
It was so intense.
And then from there, I think.
And then, I don't know if it's, like you said, he's so tall, and I'm at this kiddie table.
Oh yeah, so he's like.
He's super tall.
Right,
I'm at the
lower.
kiddie table, which is like not a normal height table. So if he was all the way up here, and I'm here, and we were going to say something to each other, like.
Oh yeah.
You gotta get.
You guys had to get close, but it was just like so intense. This exchange of energy that was going on, and then from there, I think it clicked that like I was like, oh, like he must be hitting on you, right?
One would think
that's what everyone else at the table kind of thought, right? And then from there, like the restaurant closes.
It devolves into madness.
3/4 of the waitstaff is like gone.
There's one table of Spanish dudes left.
Yes.
But they eventually get their bill and leave. Yeah,
and we had asked for our bill.
Yeah, half the wait staff is gone. The other thing too is like, so we had this waiter and then we had like the maitre d' like both taking turns coming to our table. So I'm like, who do I ask? Who's gonna get what? Like one would come and take our drinks order, and then the other one would come over a few later and be like, oh, did you get your drinks? Like, okay. It was very much like,
that's true. It was a little confusing.
What's happening?
Yeah. So basically, empty ass restaurant. We are just like waiting for our check for it seems like forever.
A long time. We did ask for it. I asked for it.
Because I remember like confirming that you had, and you said you had. And so, but like now it's like it's getting awkward that we're still here. Like, we need to wrap this up.
I know. I felt bad. I'm like, they're cleaning everything and they're almost done. Like,
yeah, like people from the kitchen are like
gone,
coat on with their backpack,
out the front door. Bye.
Yeah, like,
see you tomorrow. Like, and really. Alex and Calvin had left because we all needed water, and there was a nearby Monoprix that was supposed to be open until 11:30. It was like 11:15, so they were gonna go. Keep in mind, our dinner reservation was for 9:30, so we had already been there for an hour and 45 minutes.
Yeah, it was like a 2-hour endeavor.
Yeah,
we didn't leave until 11:30.
Exactly. So. They're gone. You two are like standing up, putting your coats on, ready to leave me there alone.
We did that because we were like, okay, we need to facilitate a better environment for the exchange of numbers and names and contact information between you and this like sexy waiter. And so Kathy and I were like, oh, we're going to leave. And I'm like, you wouldn't let us leave.
No, you're not. You're not leaving me here alone. What are you doing?
Literally cornered in the table or cornered in the corner by the table and your kiddie chair.
Yeah, I wouldn't move. I wouldn't let you out. But he brought when they brought the check, and it had like 8 feet worth of blank paper on the top. And I'm like, what?
Much blank.
What's happening here?
So afterwards, we end up leaving. It's like, fine, whatever, right?
Yeah.
It's like very much a misconnection. We're like, I can't believe, Alyson, you wouldn't let us leave you alone there to, you know, meet the love of your life. Have your meet cute.
Potentially.
Right? Potentially.
I mean, become
And
a French
then we realize
citizen. This is like the goal.
I know. Hello. Would take a long time still because you have to build up some years, but, you know, it would get the ball rolling. So much space on the receipt to write your number on. I had a pen. I have paper in my bag at all times.
Okay, but you didn't say this in the restaurant.
No, but it's like when we were leaving, I'm saying this is when everything started to like piece
Click.
together. We had like taken ourselves out of the situation and then everything started to click.
But I'm like,
and I was like, oh my God, could have done this. Oh my God, could have done that. Maybe I should go back and say that she forgot. What was I going to say? My friend forgot your number.
Oh, yeah.
Which makes no sense. We were going to leave something of yours there, so you had to go back and get it.
So many brilliant ideas when we were like 2 blocks away.
But
I was very much like, he had every
I'm mad at
chance.
myself. He also had every chance, yes, but you also had a chance too. As ABBA once said, take a chance on me.
Well, the world may
I'm still
never
free.
know.
I think the world will definitely never know. It's
done. It's done.
It's closed.
I mean, the sad thing is, anytime we go back to Paris, we have to go back to eat there because it was so good.
It was good. In hindsight, like I took more time to like process. I was not a huge fan of the tiramisu.
Oh, I didn't have.
In the
I
moment,
try a
it was
bite?
good. You didn't have it. I don't think so because you had a massive plate of mousse.
Okay, so I got a
Like, it
chocolate
was
mousse.
huge.
It was like salted caramel something mousse, chocolate mousse. But anyway, they bring this bowl of like 80 billion pounds of mousse. Like,
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
so this happened to us many times on this trip. So the weird thing is, so this happens at Italian restaurants, and so I guess Gruppo Mimo, it's Italian food, so this makes sense.
Okay.
Like, Italians will always come up to you and say, like, how is everything? Is it going well? Like, is everything okay? Did you like everything? French people don't care.
Okay.
They will literally abandon you to rot, and you have to, like, flag them down to get their attention. Whereas, like, I have found at Italian restaurants in Italy, and now this time in France and Austria, they always want to know if you liked their food. They always come by making sure, like, you're having a good experience. So, anytime any of us left a crumb on our plate, they were like, oh, you didn't like it? What's wrong? Is it okay? Is it good? I'm like,
I think
we're literally dying here. You gave us so much food.
Yeah, it was a lot. I wanted to vomit a little bit. I was very uncomfortable. I think in this particular case, it was more of a camaraderie thing with the table.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember seeing them do it with other tables as much. But I also wasn't really paying attention. I've never really noticed that before. I'm trying to think of like trying to filter experiences very quickly to see if I can like corroborate your theory. But I don't think I can what is it?
Remember?
Something or deny.
Yeah, confirm or deny.
What's the phrase? Confirm or deny. Thank you. I was going to say
I
agree
remember,
or deny, but that's like not right.
Like, I remember us being in Italy together and when we were in like La Spezia or something and being at a restaurant and the guy
like during the Middle Ages.
Yeah,
This was years ago.
And the guy coming up to us and being like, is everything okay? Do you like it? How's it going? Like,
but the gag was he was French.
oh yeah, there was
Remember?
I'm thinking of a different restaurant, but I do remember that one where the guy, we're all having this language barrier issue, and then finally he's like French, and we're like, French, yes.
French.
Of all the languages to speak here.
The place with the big, was it the big pasta?
Where we were like in the
pasta
corner, like the little square corner.
with the stuff above us.
Yeah, so that was the one with the French
garden
guy.
vibes.
But the one that I'm thinking of, we were at like a round table, kind of like in the middle of the room. Do you remember that?
Round table in the middle of the room was the French guy.
That was the French guy?
Outside? Outside was...
Not outside. We had 3, right? We were outside in like a covered patio.
Yeah.
We were in our little cubby with the stuff hanging and with the French guy.
Yeah.
There was a third restaurant that we were like at a round table kind of in the middle of the room. We were there for more than 2 days. I'm going to find it. I'm going to do some deep dive and find it. But anyway.
Yeah, you're the only one with photo evidence, I think, at this point.
But so we went to this Italian restaurant.
Wait, but we got to take a break.
Oh, let's take a break.
We got to take a break. And then we're going to come back and discuss other parts of the trip.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Alyson here. Just wanted to say that we want to hear from you. So send us a message at 202-630-4509 or email us at amessagefrompod@gmail.com. Also, don't forget to rate and review and check out amfpod.com for bonus content. Now back to the show.
Welcome back from the break. We're what is the phrase for we're wrangling it in?
Reeling it back in.
We're reeling it back in by also funny with these other people this whole trip. They would have to interact with me and I'd be doing the same thing where I'm like, I don't remember an idiom, I don't remember a phrase, I don't remember this. And I would turn to them and be like, this is what it's like to do the podcast with me. And they were like, yeah, I see. It's not a bit. And I'm like, no, it's not a bit. I truly don't remember anything. So we're reeling it back in. I don't want to say ringing for some reason, but we got to talk about leaving Paris. Mm-hmm. Paris is great. I think that you were dead ass tired when you left Paris. Yeah.
Oh my God. Yes. I mean,
we were beat.
We were beat. And the weird thing is you showed up, you were there for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We were like
full Wednesday,
early morning, late night. We rallied through Wednesday, and then somehow Thursday it had started raining. It rained Thursday and Friday, and I think that really just brought us down. We were all
soaked us literally, figuratively
home, couldn't walk. It was bad.
Yeah, yes. Waking up on that futon with you and just being like, I can't believe I inhabit this body. And it's not I don't know how to make these bones move
The night of rest did not help anything at all. It made nothing feel better.
Not at all. But how was getting to the airport for you? How was getting from our petite need, which was not a petite need,
right,
to you went to Charles de Gaulle.
I went to CDG, which in theory should have been super easy trip. We were a couple blocks from the metro. We only had to take one metro line before getting on the RER, which is the train that goes they have different lines, but it crosses all the way through the city and you can get to the airports and the further out regions.
The boonies.
Yeah, the boonies, essentially. So in theory, it should be super easy. Couple minutes walk to the metro, hop on one line, switch at one of the train stations, and BD.
And also, you were going at a time that was not rush hour.
Yeah, just not rush hour. I ended up actually leaving half hour earlier than I had originally planned on leaving, just to be safe.
Yeah.
So I'm like, we're good. So I get to the train station, and I miss the train to the airport by 2 minutes. But no big deal. There's a million of them, right? It's the metro or the train? The train.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I get it. That's ugh, sucks, but it's it'll come back.
Yeah, it'll come by again, right? So it's a 15...
Wait, did you miss the express?
No. It's a 15-minute wait for the next train. So I'm like,
okay, yeah.
Hey, no big deal. People are coming up to me. People are coming up to me oh, is this where you get the train to CDG? And I have to explain yeah, but the next train doesn't go to CDG. You have to wait for the one after that. Because you know how the line curves at the end? At the end, the line looks like this. So
yeah, Paris loves to have a forked finish to their lines.
So
metro, train, tram.
It's technically, both of them are RERB, but one of them goes over here to it starts with an M. Who knows what it's called? And then the other one is CDG. It ends at the airport. Yeah. So I'm no, don't get on the next one. You got to wait for the one after that. The platform is packed. Tons of people. Alerts. Delays. Delay. Alert. Triangle.
What is this triangle
you know,
thing
the
you're
triangle
doing?
with the exclamation mark in it for their alert?
You mean the caution sign?
Yeah. Whatever.
The be real sign. The be real sign. The RR was it's time to be real and be on this platform.
Okay. Red alert. there are delays on the CDG line because the signals aren't working between the two airport stations. Cool.
Oh.
I'm the second airport station, not the first. But I'm like, whatever. It says the train is still coming. They've made an announcement. There's a short delay. No big deal.
Not the end of the world.
Not the end of the world. So this train is 5 minutes away. A few minutes later, it's still 5 minutes away. A few minutes later, it goes down to 4 minutes. And I'm like, okay, cool. Then it goes back up to 5.
Oh, no.
And then it eventually goes down
How
to...
long did you wait?
It eventually goes down to 3 minutes. And I'm like, progress. And then it's like...
But how much time has really passed?
It was probably a good, 10 minutes of it from it when it said 5 minutes left. It was an extra 10 minutes. Okay. So I've probably waited an extra 5 to 10 minutes. I don't know. It was moving slow. But again, left earlier than planned. Have plenty of time. No big deal. Mm-hmm. And it's the express, like you said. So there's literally one stop before the airport stops. So, of course, at this point, the platform is overflowing. We're packed onto this train like sardines. Sweat is dripping. I managed to, we're packed in there. The guy behind me has a huge suitcase. It's rammed up against me. Whatever.
Oh,
I managed to, get my hair up off my neck, with a clip. And there's no room to hold on to anything. It's just the press of bodies keeping us from flying.
Oh, yeah. It's a salami can. You're in a salami can.
So.
This is funny because for me, I was really stressed because I was I'm leaving at 6 o'clock to get to the airport.
Mm-hmm.
Peak chef kiss,
rush hour.
Oh my God. Rush hour. Thank you. I was commuter time. And I was that's not right. Rush time, rush hour.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm this is going to blow. I'm going to be in this metro for so long to get to Orly, which is the opposite of, because I'm not taking the RER to Orly. I'm taking the bus.
Yeah.
And I'm fuck, this is going to suck. I think because it's rush hour, trains are every 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Metro trains every 2 minutes. And I was oh, okay, that's great. I don't have to wait long. I'm still going to be in this packed, salami can. And turns out it was so much room. I got to sit for the whole ride, in a seat that wasn't one of those risers. You have to get up when it gets busy. It was so nice. Although at one point I'm okay, I'm killing it. This is so good. We're 2 stops from where I need to get off. The entire train just stops and goes pitch black dark. And I was
as it does.
Some announcement came on, but it was so hard to hear. Even the French people were I don't know what he said. And I was just deep breath. You will get off this. You will get off of this and you will make it to the bus. But I still thought that I had to get onto the bus and then be in rush hour traffic on the highway. Mm-hmm. So I was oh. It was stress. But to make a long story short, I did not have a salami can situation like you do. And I got onto the bus, lots of space, got there in 5 minutes, 10 minutes.
I'm happy for you.
Killed it.
No one should have to deal with what I dealt with. Because
I can't believe we had different stressors that were just flipped.
Yeah. So we arrive at CDG 1 and I'm I'm the next stop. Train stops, all the doors open, they make an announcement. This train is now canceled. It's done, it's over, get off. I'm
wait, but you can take the what is it called? The Roissy-Val or the
Roissy-Val or whatever.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah. Or CDG-Val. I think it's called both.
CDG-Val.
Roissy-Bus, CDG-Val. That's what it is. Anyway.
CDG-Val. Yeah.
So they're get off the train. And of course, it's a lot of tourists too. And so people are freaking out oh my God, this is in my terminal. What do I do? What do I do? So they quickly make another announcement. Next train to CDG Terminal 2 is on platform 22. So I'm okay, sweet. This is 23 and 24. Sucks I got to go all the way up these stairs, walk over and go all the way back down the stairs to get to the next platform, but no big deal. So then the French people know what's happening, right? The people who can speak French know what's happening. Everyone else is losing their minds. And then people start translating for them. And so all of a sudden, everybody is crushing towards the escalators and the stairs. I'm oh. And then we finally managed to get through this crush of people over and onto the next train. And I had a seat. There was plenty of space. I'm where were all those people just losing their minds over there? Did they even make it onto this train? But I was Who cares? I'm on it. We're going.
Yeah, like
we're here.
Sayonara. Well, that's good.
I was just so
you
sad. Like, I was so comfortable. I looked fine. I looked presentable. And then things like rapidly devolved on that train. I was a disaster.
Glad that happened to you and not to me.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie. Very happy that didn't happen to me. Well, I did have a similar situation getting back to my actual apartment, but that's security wise.
Yeah.
I'm like, thank God I got here early because it is like, ooh, man, late night, early security checkpoint. Like, we are just like the longest little snake game, you know, known to mankind.
Yeah.
It's moving, but it's like, wowie. Also, I had to take out all my fucking toiletries. I was like, what? This is the year 2022. Leave me alone.
This is the first year that I've actually had to do that.
So weird.
Usually,
they were like handing out bags.
Yeah. They do that in Europe
like,
now.
And people were doing it. I was like, oh, this is the worst.
Normally I just ignore it, except for that time at Heathrow when the guy literally pulled everything I own out of all my bags because I didn't.
I wouldn't fuck with Heathrow. They scare me.
So I was like, okay.
So I'm noticing in the security checkpoint, there's like obviously not all of them are open, which is just like a normal thing in general for airports.
Yeah. Annoying, but
you know, whatever. So I see like the ones open. I notice there's like 2 open. There's another one open, like spaced out, but it's just like one of the security lines is open out of the 2. And then I notice there's one like all the way at the end, but I'm like, what? It's like not connected to this. And I was like, oh, it's for people with children. Because it's like child themed. And like there's lots of families with strollers and like kids. And so I'm like, oh, I wonder how the line like works when I get farther up. And I'm like, I'm noticing that if you are lucky, no one's getting into the child line. That's just like, that's not happening, right? There's enough children to make that one full that no one can come into it and like get clipped out of the line. But if you got lucky to get into the one that was before the 2, the woman just like opened the line and like counted a bunch of people and then she closed it. And if you missed the cutoff on either end, you just had to keep walking slowly to the last one. It is like a shit show in these security like things. This guy like does not understand why he can't put his like coat with his thing. They are like, it's a tug of war between like the attendant and the man between like the bag to the point where she just throws it back at him and is like, I can't do this anymore, and like moves to help somebody else. And some other man like comes and like deals with the situation. I was like, yikes, I do not want to be over there. I got lucky and I got to go into the child line.
I love that for you.
I was like, oh, okay. I was like, oh, fingers crossed I get to get out early and go into like the one that's earlier. But it was like out of nowhere, this woman was just like, oh, here, come over here, counted a bunch of us. And I was like, boop, 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 walked in and got in. It was like seconds. It was chef kiss gorgeous.
That's nice.
But then I had to sit with all these Spaniards before my flight. And my flight was delayed an hour, which was very bleak.
Very bleak.
And then I got home late. And then I had to take the metro home. And I was like, I've never taken the metro back from the airport. I usually just like Uber because it's like weird times. And so I was like, okay, fine. Like I'll take the metro. And I'm like, oh, right. Everyone's like, it's Friday night at like midnight, you know, like everyone's like ready to go. And I take one and I get to the second switch I'm supposed to do. And I get there and I just miss it. And I was like, that sucks. But you know, say la vie. You want to guess how many minutes showed up on that
25
timer? Very close. 21.
Oh!
I have literally never seen a metro that long. Even when it's like...
That's in the States on a Sunday.
Night, weekend. Yeah, that's like just a normal time in DC, right? It's just like, oh, I'm on the red line. It must be on the red line. Single tracking. And everyone, this guy next to me just like puts his head on the wall when it shows up and he says to his friend, he's just like, just shoot me in the head. And so it was so long that I was like, and also our bodies were broken from just like trampling around Paris for 3 days and being awake for ungodly amounts of time.
Yeah.
That I sat down on the metro floor with all my bags and just like slumped over and was like, I can't believe I have to wait 20 minutes for this fucking metro to get here. And it did come. But it was like all of us were sitting on the platform. And luckily I thought the Madrid metro is so clean, which we had discussed, that you can sit on the floor. Like if it was in Paris, you cannot pay me to sit on the Paris metro floor. Not at all.
No.
So that was my bit of like misfortune, essentially. I got home at like so much later than I thought I was going to home. I didn't go to bed at like 2 a.m. I wanted to die.
Oh, that's rough. That's a long day. We left about 40 minutes late, which
yours was also late.
Yeah, whatever. Not terrible. It took them 8 years to board us, but
same.
So I had to go through like passport control before I could go through security. And I get up,
Before?
Yeah. So I showed the two ladies standing at the entrance my passport, and they're like, "Oh, the American one's closed. You have to go over here." Because there was a section for like, it was like US, Canada, UK, or like Britain. And then there was like EU passport holders. And then there was everyone else. And of course, the everyone else is like 80 billion people in the line.
Forever long.
I'm like,
always is.
Lovely. I'm behind this huge tour group with like matching tracksuits, like France, Paris 2022. I'm like, that's actually a nice jacket, but there's this guy.
You don't have any more space for jackets.
Oh, there's this guy who's like, passport, has anyone seen a passport? Has anyone seen a passport? I'm like, hun, you lost your passport. He eventually found it a few minutes later. Which like,
he was just like on the floor.
I think it was on him, but he like was like frantically like searching through all his bags and pockets and like missed it. Kind of like, I thought I lost my SIM card and searched through every.
Oh, did you lose it?
No, so I ended up finding it.
Where was it?
It was in this notebook that I had already looked in like 5 times. Standard.
Your SIM card in a notebook?
So it's in this little bag, right? It's in this little Ziploc bag with like the tool to open up the SIM card slot and like a couple of other international SIM cards. And I use like this black zipper pouch for like the travel essentials that I'm going to need on the plane before I can get into my bag, right? So I've got like hand sanitizer, wipes, I usually have like toothbrush and toothpaste in there. I'll put the SIM card thing in there. Anything that I'm like, I will need handy on the flight or immediately after.
Okay.
But then I ended up using that black pouch as a purse a couple of times. So I had taken like everything out. And I guess I tucked the SIM card bag in the notebook like, it's going to be handy in here. I'm not going to lose it.
But you also couldn't find it.
I also couldn't.
I'm not going to lose it, but I'm also not going to find it.
Exactly. But I'm like, I flipped through that thing so many times. I jiggled it.
Oh, yeah.
But the SIM cards
You looked like you were robbing yourself.
Yeah. But the SIM cards did not come out until I was already at home and had accepted the fact that like I was going to have to go buy a new one the next day.
At peace.
I was at peace with it, which is of course why I found it. But so anyway, this beauty queen, this French beauty queen, she had to have been like 6'5", gorgeous, flawless skin. She sees me.
5, wow.
She opens the rope. She ushers me along to the short line for people who have like advanced security clearance. And I'm like,
advanced security clearance?
It was like I don't know, whatever. I think it was like advanced security clearance because it was like not just the EU passport holder line, but whatever. She lets a handful of us go. Love. Get through border control. And again, it's like 2 security lines open here and this one if you have like global entry pre-check stuff. Right. So I'm like, cool. But I got through ahead of so many people that I'm like, no big deal.
Yeah.
So I get over there, I get into my security line, and there's like a handful of people in front of me, you know, like there's this lady, this American lady, like truly giving us the name that we have in the international world. She is throwing her bags at the women who are working there. She's got a carry-on suitcase with wheels, throwing it at them, throwing her other bags. And they're trying to be like, they're speaking to her in French. They obviously don't speak English very well, which like, we're in France, so what do you expect? And they're like trying to tell her like slowly, like calm down, like please calm down. And she's like, you need to speak to me in English. I don't understand French. I don't understand. You should be speaking to me in English. And they're trying to tell her like, do you have liquids in there? Do you have electronics in there? You need to take these
like,
items
out.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah.
And she literally was throwing the bins at them, throwing her bags at them. And
yikes.
It was awful. I was about to say something to her. And eventually she's like, well, doesn't it need to go together? Don't they need to be together? Her bags were like half out of the bins because she was just throwing things everywhere. And then they were eventually just like, get away from us. Like, just go, get away. They're going to catch you at the end because you have refused to take anything out of your bag. So when it goes through, they're going to flag her and pull her aside and dig open her bags.
Here's the thing. I thought that was going to happen to me because like I was like, ugh, all right, everything is in a plastic bag except for like my contact solutions in this one. There's like my toothpaste isn't in the bag. Like I think I've got something else. Like I had my face wash was in a different bag. And I was like, I swear to God, if they like clock me for this, I'm going to be so mad. They didn't give a shit. And I was like, why did I even put all this stuff in a bag to begin with?
Yeah.
Oh,
I just put a couple of items in a bag to appease them and put it in the bag.
I think that's what it is. It's just like, here, are you happy with this 1 liter bag?
Yeah. But I felt so bad because, again, before she walked through the metal detector, she was like, I don't understand. You need to speak in English. And I almost yelled at her, but I was like, don't cause a scene. Let it go. I was going to apologize to the lady that she literally threw her suitcase at, but I didn't end up getting that lady to help me. I got like the next lady. But I felt so bad. And of course, like a security guy walks up after. I wanted to be like, go arrest her. She's literally throwing her suitcase at people.
Arrest her.
But so of course they pulled her aside at the end and made her open her bags. But I was like, watch this woman be on my plane. And a lady who looked like her definitely walked past me boarding, but she had a different shirt on. So I'm like, did this woman do like wardrobe change because she knew she made a fool out of herself? I'm like, her face looked similar, but it was a different shirt. So I was like,
different woman.
I don't know. But I was disgusted. I was like, what is wrong with you? Don't come here if you can't speak the language and you're going to act like that when you don't understand people.
Yeah, I need like an etiquette test when you like apply for your...
That's what it is etiquette. People have no etiquette at all.
No class, no etiquette.
It's just being respectful.
I don't have a lot of etiquette either.
Like, why on earth would you throw your suitcase at someone because you don't understand?
I mean, it is like a high stress scenario. Not that I'm trying to be like, what she did, like trying to justify what she did. Yeah. Like, but I understand when I see people like blow up at the airport in a situation like that, I'm almost like, yeah, this is what happened here. Like, of course.
It is stressful and waiting in lines.
Like when I see people blow up at the immigration office, I'm like, we're all like like it's 100 out of 10 here.
Yeah. Like waiting in lines is stressful. Thinking you're going to miss your flight is stressful. Hot. It's hot. And so it puts people in like a bad mood and stuff. But I'm just like, you are from America. You're clearly going back there. You've dealt with TSA in the United States.
Which is worse.
Are bastards. They scream at you from the start for no reason.
They're so awful.
But the second you
have to take your shoes off.
The second you're in their sight line, they're screaming at you. These ladies are so nice. Like, why?
I don't know, maybe it's like Stockholm syndrome or something.
Insanity.
She's just like used to being berated.
Apparently.
Pavlovian dog or whatever. I don't know. I'm just throwing philosophy things out now.
Yeah.
Well, I'm so glad we both made it back to our respective homes. If we had to say whose trip home was worse, it was probably you.
Probably. But I mean,
although my actual flight was like very miserable.
Oh no, my flight was fine. It was fine.
Yeah. But mine was only an hour and a half too. So
well,
I got lucky.
There we have it.
Oh, that's what I was gonna say. I also got lucky because they were tagging everyone's bags before we were boarding, being like, "This has to be checked. This has to be checked. This has to be checked." And I was like, "Fuck, whatever, fine. Like, sure, this is gonna make it longer to get home, but like, whatever." Bypassed me because mine was like a weekender bag and it wasn't like a carry-on with like
wheels. Yeah,
and I was like, I didn't know this was a thing. I was like, this is huge.
Oh yeah,
if it's great. Why don't I bring this thing around everywhere?
If it's got wheels,
I just assumed they'd be like tumble, here we go.
Yeah, if it's got wheels, they'll tag it, but if not, they won't.
Lit. Watch me never use that other suitcase ever again. Just kidding, I love that thing. All right, now we're done. If you would like to send us a message and listen to us chit-chat about it forever, call us at 202-630-4509. You can send us a message at a messagefrompod@gmail.com, a message from on Instagram, a message from _ on Twitter,
find us on TikTok, watch all our videos, like, subscribe, and comment to our YouTube channel. And we will see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.